Welcome to another edition of the Sports Whip. Ole Miss lost a tough one to the Gamecocks last week, but there's plenty more football to play. Kory, Jason, and Dom will take an in-depth look at the Rebels, plus to tell you which games to watch this weekend. This is the Sports Whip.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Sports Whip. As always, I'm Kory Keys, joined by Jason Smith and Dom Rodriguez. We're going to take a hard look at the Ole Miss Rebels and see what they can do to get back on the winning track. And later, we'll recap some of the games from this past weekend in college football. Guys, first and foremost, thanks for coming back. Ole Miss loses to South Carolina 16-10. It's the game that we were all disappointed about. We previewed this game a little bit and knew that it was going to be a tough one going in. My main problem was with the offensive line. Give me a little bit of what has to happen.
You got to find some way to give Bradley Sowell some more protection if he's still going to be the guy at left tackle. I mean, I believe Houston Nutt said they're going to stick with him and just use another running back to kind of chip for him. So that's going to have to happen. But also Jevon Sneed is going to have to step up his game.
And speaking of Jevon Sneed, how much does his play is a byproduct of how weak the offensive line has been?
Well, like Jason said, you know, the left side is going to be key for him. He's a right-handed quarterback, so therefore his blind side is the left side. If they can't protect him, he's going to be running all over the place. He doesn't have time to set his feet. I mean, if you look, you guys saw on Thursday, he just looked real jittery in the pocket, didn't have time to set his feet and make his throws, and he just seemed like he was rushing through his reads and just trying to get the ball out.
And the offense has sputtered from the get-go, and the first two games we thought that the offensive play calling was vanilla, and because we weren't really playing, it was against Memphis and Southeastern Louisiana, figured you wouldn't show a lot of your schemes and packages that early. Well, we all assumed that the packages would open up and the play calling would open up against South Carolina. That didn't really happen. So now we sit here and look at the offense didn't get anything moving until the fourth quarter when they gave the ball to Dexter McCluster. Just how important is he to this offense?
He's the key to the offense. You know, as Nutt said, the offensive line has really struggled. But when you have a quick guy like Dexter McCluster, you can get in there behind a John Jerry and then find that smallest hole and just slip through it, and he'll burn the defense with the speed.
And as bad as the game was, the Rebels still had chances to win the football game, and that really goes back to the defense.
Oh, yeah, the defense, just in the previous games, they've kept us in there the whole time. You know, they only allowed – the final score was 16-10, so – the defense is going to be key if we're going to, you know, make a run of that SEC West title.
We move on to our next topic, and it's in a little national spotlight. There were a few upsets over the weekend. The Iowa Hawkeyes took down the Penn State Nittany Lions, as well as Oregon absolutely blowing Cal out of the water. And Oregon's a team that everybody wrote off after week one, after they went up to Boise State and lost. And then the whole melee at the end of the game with LeGarrette Blount. That's a team everybody had written off for dead. But here comes Oregon after they blow Cal out. Tell me a little bit about what does all this mean for the national landscape?
It just shows you that there's parity, definitely in you know, especially in the top 25, because it seemed like, you know, you had Cal goes down, we go down, you know, some teams win. So I think that that's just going to be a theme we're going to see all season. Teams, you know, getting up there, dropping back down, teams coming from nowhere, working their way up.
And how much, well, and to you, this with a lot of the rankings in Penn State, with the Big Ten, how much is it going to play into maybe Ole Miss's favor or against them with the SEC being as tough as it is?
Well, first off, I think you got to look at the top three, and that's going to be rock solid. But what Dom said, the top 25 it's a grab bag right now. You never know what's going to happen. But that could work in Ole Miss's favor. They take care of business against Alabama, and then the schedule is very favorable for them to make a run at the West.
Right, and it really just becomes all about winning at this point. And this is a game that the Rebels have to win this weekend in Nashville. We move on to our next topic and talk a little bit about the SEC Players of the Week, both offensively and defensively. Dom, what do you got?
Well, first off, my defensive player was Chad Jones, the DB out of LSU. He had that 93-yard punt return for a touchdown. He had that blocked Tyson Lee's pass when Mississippi State was on the one. And he was also he was in that stop when Lee tried to run it.
And what do you think about the play calling there from Mississippi State with the play action? The guy was open. Do you just not just run the ball up the middle in extra time?
I mean, you can. I thought Lee should have tried to outstretch the ball. If Lee would have stretched the ball, they would have won that game. So that I would put more of the blame on him. Although if he pitched it, that running back was definitely open.
And Jason, who's an offensive guy that you thought stood out in the SEC this week?
Definitely A.J. Green. 8 catches, 153 yards. Really led Georgia down the field that last drive to set up that field goal. So I got to give it to A.J. Green.
And I talked about this last night on the College Sports Power Hour on Rebel Radio 92.1. Is right now, today, Julio Jones or A.J. Green?
I'm going with I'm going with Julio Jones just because he is so strong. I've never seen a wide receiver, maybe not since Larry Fitzgerald, that's that strong.
All right, and our next topic, we're going to preview the Ole Miss Rebels and the Vanderbilt Commodores, who will be playing at 6 o'clock Central on ESPNU Saturday from Nashville, Tennessee. This, guys, really it comes down to this. It's for all the marbles. You can't allow an upset this time. And this is a team whom Ole Miss struggled with, namely Jevin Sneed last year, so you can't expect the defensive scheme to change much for Vanderbilt.
Oh, Vandy's definitely going to stick to the same defensive scheme, and they have a very good defense. They're very sure tackling. They're a little slow at the linebacker position, which could mean Dexter McCluster has potentially a big game. But as you said, their scheme's going to stay the same.
And what are your keys for this game?
I definitely going to kind of go over what Jason said. Vandy's defense is not a defense. That's not somebody you kind of don't even you overlook. They played really good against LSU. So I think, like you said, with the slowness of the linebackers, I think McCluster could be the key for winning this game.
We did this last time. You guys want to play over or under again?
Let's do it.
Here we go. Ole Miss Vanderbilt. 6 points scored by Vanderbilt. Over under.
I'm going under.
Okay.
They only put up 3 against Mississippi State, and I'd like to think Ole Miss's defense is better than State.
I'm going to say under, too. I just think that our defense is good enough to hold them to under 6.
All right, over under 3 sacks by the Vanderbilt defense.
I'm going to go under. I think there'll be some type of scheme to help out Bradley Sell on that left side, and I think you'll be seeing Ole Miss run the ball a lot more.
Yeah, I'm going to say under, too. I think they're going to get some help, like Jason said, on the left, and keep Sneed keep him on his feet.
Right. Over under 150 total yards for Dexter McCluster.
Definitely over. He's going to be a very important part of the game plan, and hopefully they don't wait till the 4th quarter to give him the ball this time.
I'm going to say under just because I think that they can get other guys involved. Pat Patterson, Shea Hodge, Brandon Bolden, they need to get him rolling.
And speaking of Pat Patterson, over under 3 catches for the freshman.
I'm going to say under. I still don't think he's learned the playbook well enough to get the snaps that most Ole Miss fans want him to get yet.
Yeah, I'm going to say under, too.
Okay. And for our final topic, we have the upset alert in the nation. There's a couple games that our guys are thinking that maybe there will be some upsets on the weekend. And for me, it's Stanford, who's 3-1 over Rick Neuheisel's undefeated 3-0 UCLA Bruins. I think Toby Gerhardt and the Stanford Cardinal will edge that game out. And this is a team who's up and coming in the Pac-10. What do you think?
I definitely think Stanford's an up-and-coming team, and it's going to be a fun game to watch. And I'm going to stick with the Pac-10.
Okay.
And I'm going to say Cal over USC. I think Cal is going to rebound. You can't contain Javid Best the way Oregon did. He's too good of a running back, and he's going to have a good game against against USC. I'm sorry, and then USC still has question marks at the quarterback spot.
We're running out of time. What's your upset pick?
Real quick, I do like Cal over USC. I think Javid Best is going to have a breakout game. I'm going to take Texas A&M over Arkansas after watching Arkansas play last week, and A&M's been playing really good, so I like them.
All right, guys, another week, another good week. Thanks for coming on.
No problem.
Thank you.
All right, that'll do it for us here at the Sports Whip. For Dom and Jason, I'm Kory Keys. Be sure to catch our show anytime on the dmonline.com. See you next time here on the Sports Whip.
Tune in next time when the boys will recap the Rebels trip to Vandy and other news and highlights in college football. I'm Beth Kincade, and we'll see you next week.